Hi, this is Debbie, and today I have a tutorial over at Waffle Flower that I'm sharing here too. I'm using one of the new Big Bear and Bird sets from the recent summer release to create this cute birthday card. The PAWSOME set has a great selection of critters to colour, and I like the fact that most of the characters come as pairs. I was particularly taken with the Dachshunds, and so I laid those out on a piece of white card in the mini MISTI, along with a bunch of the coordinating images. I wasn't sure at this point which of the images I wanted to use in the final card, but stamping out one image or a selection requires no more time when using a stamp positioner and gives you options to play with. I'm going to be using my Copics to colour, and so I'm stamping in a Copic friendly black ink. I like to stamp the images at least twice to get nice solid black outlines. I stamp a few more of the banner images and now I'm all set to colour. I like to reference an image when colouring, and so I googled Dachshund on my phone so I can reference colours and shading. I've sped the video up to fit in as much of the colouring as possible. I'm using a simple Copic Colouring technique of blending two or more shades of the same colourway to get highlights and shadows. Often I start with the lightest colour and work my way to the darkest, but as the areas to colour on these doxies is relatively small, then I find it easier to start with the darkest shade and work to the lightest. This way I'm laying down less ink and reducing the chance of oversaturating the area and the marker bleeding outside the lines. I'm going to play some music while I continue to colour, and I'll be back shortly. With the colouring now complete, I've attached the matching PAWSOME dies with washi to keep them in place while I run them through my Big Shot die cut. Having popped out all the images, I'm now starting to plan where I want to place everything. Having decided a rough layout, I'm blending Lakeshore's ink into a piece of card, and I'm going to die cut a circle from this to act as a background for my scene. And I want the ink to blend up lightly from the bottom and then fade out towards the top of the circle. Again, I'm using washi to keep the die in place and then running it through my die cutting machine. I've reworked my plan slightly on where I'm going to place the images. I often find I pare designs down and remove items as the card comes together with a less is more philosophy. I've cut a white panel using the LACY Layers 5x7 die set to help ground my scene, and now I'm working on the sentiment. In our house we use birthday cards more than any other type of card, and so I pulled out the Hope Your Birthday Was PAWSOME from the set and laid it out on black card in the MISTI. I'm going to be heat embossing this sentiment, so I've treated the card with a powder tool to prevent stray embossing powder sticking, then stamped with a clear embossing ink and sprinkled with white embossing powder. I've tidied up any stray powder with a paintbrush and then using a good and hot heat gun to set the powder. I trim the banner down to a skinny strip and then add a foam adhesive to the back of all the elements to add them to the card. At first I lay them down lightly so there's the opportunity if needed to move them about slightly. Then with everything in place I wanted to add a few touches to finish. I added some white gel pen details to the present and the Doxy's ears, and then a good coat of Wink of Stella over everything apart from the dogs. The shimmer of Wink of Stella is so pretty in person but hard to capture in film and photos, but hopefully you can see it a little here. Lastly, I added a few sequins and kept those in place with Ranger Multimedium Matte. And that completes this cute birthday card using the new PAWSOME set. I'll leave links below in the YouTube description to the products that I've used today, as well as a link to the coordinating blog post over at limedoodledesign.com. I want to thank you for joining me today, and if you've enjoyed this tutorial, I'd be delighted if you'd subscribe to this channel. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.